college athletes, it's all about getting bigger, faster, stronger.
I'm a big person of it. If you're going to speak of something, you need to be able to prove that something.
It's seeing kids go other routes, and it's probably going to give them such a better experience.
I would just definitely have to say for parents, the support that you give and the support that you show your kid, if you can't do it, they won't do it.
What is going on, everybody? This is Coach Vinny, and I'm here to bring you episode 3 of the Students of Strength podcast. Now, next to me, I have an amazing guest, a very close friend. I'd even call her family now. I've been around her for so long. Recently crowned national champion. You can see the shirts that we're wearing. We'll get into that. But like I said, I'm Coach Vinny, and I would like to now introduce to you none other than Vanessa Lang. So Vanessa here, I've known Vanessa since she was in high school. She's now a collegiate student athlete. She's been in college for a little bit now. She's played some JUCO softball. She's now at Southern Oregon University, where her team just recently won the NAIA World Series crown. So I think that's enough of me introducing her. I'd like to turn it over to Vanessa, and she's just gonna tell you a little bit about herself, who she is, what she's all about, and we will get to this episode. So thanks for joining in.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I'm a senior now at Southern Oregon University. I have played the middle infield all throughout my collegiate career and started out catching through high school and then still transferring back into the middle infield, but born and raised to play at second base. Yeah, I've grown up in Tracy my entire life. I was at the College of San Mateo for my freshman and sophomore year, transferred to SOU, working on my degree for exercise science and minoring in psychology, trying to become an athletic trainer in a couple of years, and now I'm currently looking into master's programs for after school.
Very cool. So the life of a student athlete right there in a nutshell. So Vanessa's been all over the place. The cool thing about this podcast is to really highlight our town, the athletes that have come and gone, that have paved the way, the coaches that we have all had, the schools that we've gone to, the programs that we've been a part of, and kind of highlighting that journey. Vanessa is someone that I got to meet in high school. She's always been an awesome softball player, but awesome athletes are always looking for the next thing. How can I get to the next level? How can I separate myself from everybody? That's something that Vanessa's always done a really good job about, where she trained, investing into strength and conditioning, training year round, something that still isn't being done at the very high school that she graduated from, that I graduated from. We're in a world where we rely on talent. Talent is eventually going to wear out for a lot of athletes, and you're going to have to rely on things like strength, speed, mobility. What happens when I get hurt? Wanting to play at the higher level like Vanessa does. She has played softball at one of the best junior colleges. She's playing at one of the top colleges right now for softball. Just sports alone, it's beautiful where she's at. Most people think Oregon, Ducks, maybe they're a Beavers fan. Southern Oregon Raiders, they are a legit program. The t-shirt speaks for itself. 2019, 2021, 2023, and 2025, national champion. So she's here right now with us, spending her summer training, working out at the gym. She just had a little operation done that, was key to her really stepping it up this upcoming season, because you win a title, you want to go back. And can we get back? Can we do that again? And it's mindset for athletes. So I want to go back to your high school days, when you really made that jump to start investing outside of the sport. You've always done your lessons. You do your T work, you do all those things that are expected of you. It's the strength and conditioning, the speed training, the stuff that still to this day, a lot of kids, a lot of parents are afraid of. They don't have time for it. We don't want them sore. We don't want them tired. We don't want to stunt their growth, but nobody gets any better. Nothing's changing. We're still letting kids down at the high school level, which they're unprepared. And they wonder why colleges don't want high school kids. And, you were in those same very shoes, high level high school athlete. Where are my offers, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to take me? You go the JUCO route, which was probably the best route you could have went because you went to one of the best, College of San Mateo. We got a trend with going to schools with Bulldog in the mascot, right? So you go to that program, 2 really good years, playoff runs, deep into tournaments, All-American status, right? Gold Glove, all the accolades, but none of it is possible without your strength, your speed, right? You can be the best on your high school team. When you get to college, every girl was the best on their high school team, and they probably were better than you. I was great at our high school, but all these girls go to high school that win section championships. They win state titles. They're heavily recruited. They're 3, 4, 5-star kids. What about everybody else? I work just as hard. I've got the numbers, the stats. So now you're a high school athlete, right? When did you make that change? When did you need it? And why are you still doing it?
I think I made that change actually my 8th grade summer going into my freshman year at Tracy High, because throughout my travel ball season, I was playing for Lady Wolfpack from Fremont, California, and our liaison who was helping us basically get recruited, she expressed to us, you need to start looking into your future now. And I'm like, I'm going into high school, I'm a freshman, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life quite yet. And that made me, I guess that flipped a switch within me to realize I want to keep going past high school. I really want to figure it out. So my 8th grade summer going into freshman year, I really started to look into strength training. I started strength training and doing lessons way more frequently. And it was difficult for me because where I went previously, I was one of the only girls there. It was a class of maybe 20 to 15 boys, and it was just me, the single girl. So I think that was a really hard thing to process at that age. Why am I the only girl? Why is nobody really trying to invest in women in sports and that kind of aspect? But once I had my injury with my back right before COVID had hit, or right after COVID had hit, actually, it was my junior year, I was able to come here with you, and you helped me recover through that whole process, and that really set me up, I feel like, for my junior college and getting to play at the College of San Mateo for the 2 years that I did, because if I didn't recover through that back injury with you, I would have probably quit playing because of how significant it was for me in my life. And that, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The training with you really made me fall in love with it genuinely. And I got to do it with you virtually throughout the College of San Mateo. I did that a little bit in my freshman year and into my sophomore year for a little bit. And just continuing to push myself and strive to be the best and to be a role model at the end of the day is why I wanted to keep going. And it also just made me feel good about myself. You don't see a lot of women keep pushing to do the hard things. The hard things is what makes you a better person. So
100%. And college athletes, it's all about getting bigger, faster, stronger. Whether it's female sports, men's sports, it does not matter. You need to have that physical attribute to you. And when college coaches are looking to add to their rosters, they know you're good at your sport. It's the other things. How strong are they? What are their sprint times? What's their vertical jump, their broad jump? And that kind of goes back to finding a place, being able to individualize a program for what you need. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And when you look at strength and conditioning, it isn't an overcrowded group workout where, like you said, it's 15 to 20 boys, you're the only girl. So it's, places might just cater to one sport, or it could be a team that trains specifically out of a facility. Here at our facility here in town, Altamont Performance Lab, we've always been open to any sport, any athlete, and it also doesn't matter if you play sports or not. Strength and conditioning is for everybody. Being able to put a workout in your hands that was tailored to you specifically. It's not ego driven. It's not my workout for Vanessa. It's here's Vanessa, the teenage softball player who needs this. And it's always been about getting you to the next level, overcoming injuries, seeing different looks in college. College, even junior college, is not high school in any capacity.
Not one bit.
I think we look at it completely different. We're going to showcases, right? We're doing all these camps. It's heavy on the lessons, right? I think you did a great job of limiting all of that stuff. I'm going to do my tee work. I'm going to hit into the bow net. I'm going to play catch. I don't need a million private lessons throughout the week to do those things.
Yeah.
I need to get stronger. It's always been about gaining weight, getting faster. That doesn't happen with you playing in a million tournaments all throughout the summer, all throughout your fall, and when you get to college, you realize that you're training way more, and you should have been training way more when you were younger. So you did a great job of kind of canceling out that noise, going against what everybody else was doing. Oh, we all work out here. No, I'm going to go work out here because this place is doing what I need. And, your parents always did an amazing job of investing into that for you, like the sacrifices, getting you to the gym, right? It's not all of you. Not everybody just has a driver's license. You start out younger, you got to get to your workouts, get to your practices, but you always, and even now, have done a great job of prioritizing these things. 8 weeks ago, you had a minor surgery, right? And for the last 8 weeks, you've been here in the gym following an entire strength rehab program. You were just fully cleared to throw the other day. You've been at it, where most people are going to take the 6 to 8 week recommendation and do nothing, get worse. For an athlete like yourself, you don't have that time, because when you have to go back to school, it's back to softball, because we won the national title. No one cares. They care about, are we going to go back? Can we make that run again, win another title, and graduate a double champion? So we've talked about high school, where we were at with things like that. Let's kind of go to your senior year, right? You played for some really good high school teams, working out, training, with all of that, if you could look back at all of it, what are some things that maybe you'd want to change, or maybe your program did differently for you, or, advice to give to these girls that are playing for the same very team that you played for 4 years?
Yeah, honestly, throughout my high school year, if I could change one aspect of it at all, would definitely be the lifting piece within school. I think we did it a little bit throughout my basketball career. Throughout high school, we stepped in the weight room a couple of times, but just the fear of stepping into the weight room and putting together a workout for something very simple is like very daunting to a lot of coaches, especially at Tracy High, I would say. Recently, of course, you've been working with the football team, and they've excelled tremendously from what I've seen. I haven't been to a game, unfortunately, but they've done an incredible job with you being brought to the program and making them a better program. And I genuinely feel if other people took that same advice, or even just took you and just pushed it through to softball, basketball, water polo, all those other soccer, everything, our sports would genuinely exceed so much. And I also feel not only is it going to build good habits within athletes, but it's going to show them a little bit and give them a taste of what the college life is like. Because
Absolutely.
it's not like you're not lifting in college. I'm lifting almost every single day in college right now. Whether I was at the College of San Mateo, at SOU, we're lifting. We're on our summer program right now, especially. So I'm doing PT on top of our summer workouts. So it's heavy loaded, but people think, oh, if I'm lifting, I'm going to be sore for games. I'm going to get injured in the weight room. And in reality, if you're lifting correctly and properly according to your sport and your body, it's gonna make you succeed at the end of the day. And coaches don't realize that. So I genuinely wish, and I hope too, like girls see now, like younger girls in high school, like, oh, the weight room's not a scary place. I don't have to I wouldn't say look at online social media for workouts, but if you can get somewhere and go to the weight room with somebody that has the background like you have and go to a trustworthy place, you're gonna succeed in the long run.
Absolutely. It comes down to you have to find an outside source for it. You could be, and most kids are going to probably go to their local gym, right? You're going to go to a Planet Fitness. You're going to go to whatever gym your town has, right? And it's just like when I was a kid, we were working out like bodybuilders instead of training like athletes, like run, skip, hop, jump. Like as much as people love Planet Fitness, you're not able to do those things at certain types of gyms. We're sending our kids to go work out on their own, or they do it at home, and they can still follow a program. You've been in college for quite some time, and I'm still able to send you remote programming and remote coaching, because there's certain things that your college team might not be doing. Right? It's all about filling the empty buckets.
Yep.
And within high school sports, especially within our town, there are a lot of empty buckets. Like Vanessa mentioned, I've been fortunate enough to bring strength and conditioning to our high school, but just 2 sports. This is my second year with the football program. I'll be going into year 2 with the baseball program, but what about all of the other ones? It goes back to what I said earlier. Most of these programs and these coaches just rely on talent. Yes, you have some very talented girls and boys, but league play is different than the playoff bracket and the championship bracket, because when you have to start playing those other teams, when they're bigger, faster, stronger. We had a preseason game against Franklin from out in Elk Grove, extremely well put together program. They beat us 12-2. You can just tell every kid looked like an athlete.
Yep.
You've got multiple collegiate commits. And I think this first year of me doing baseball, I saw more of that. Like every team had legit 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys that were Division I, and you can see why, right? Their body language, how they carry themselves, the command, versus kids who think they're Division I material. We're being told that you're great and you're excellent because your parents paid $250 for you to go to a camp or a showcase. But if you're weak and underdeveloped, what are we showcasing? They don't care because you paid up front to be there. Unless you're being invited to these places and they're flying you out, paying for your hotels. It's just like when they invite you to view their college, getting noticed is even harder now, especially with the portal.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, the portal already has the bigger, faster, stronger athletes, the ones that are already developed.
Yeah.
And with all these high school kids, you could be the best kid on your high school team. But like I said earlier, everybody in high school or college was now the best kid on their high school team, probably better than you. And if we're avoiding simple things like working out, even when you were playing full high school seasons, 3 games a week, practices, you still made time to come to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It was never the excuse of, I got out of practice at this time. Well, our gym's open late, so there's no excuse. And if you understand that lifting after practice or lifting before or on game days, like it's completely 100% okay, especially when you have a coach who understands how to program for you. It's like, oh yeah, we've got a game at 7 p.m. so we're gonna work out at 8 a.m. and I'm gonna have you max out on 3 different lifts. Or you walk into a high school weight room, especially at the one you and I both graduated from, and the whiteboard is a very scary thing. It's a dangerous tool because high school sport coaches are obsessed with 3x10. I don't know what it is. I've walked into the weight room multiple times. I've seen back squat, reverse lunge, split squats, power cleans, hang cleans, front rack this, RDLs, all 3x10.
Yep.
It's like, what are we doing? Yesterday with the football team, we had film, we practiced for 2 hours, and then we went and lifted for 30 minutes. Most guys did mobility work. It's if someone understands the needs of the athletes, like I have always understood what you've needed, right? It's never been, oh, you're gonna do this, or we're gonna do this, or I'm gonna torture this girl and see how great she really is.
Yeah.
It's like you've never once crawled out of the gym after a workout. I've never seen you throw up in a trash can or anything like that. It's never been an ego session. Like, screw this girl, I'm gonna torture her.
Yeah.
I'm like, you would have stopped coming back. Your parents would have stopped paying a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And now it's you've played JUCO ball at, like I said, one of the best in the country. College of San Mateo, great school. Now you're at Southern Oregon. Let's touch a little bit on JUCO ball. I think a lot of kids think they're too good for it. Like D1 or bust, Power 5. And going back to the working out and training thing, like if you watch college softball, like those D1 girls, that they all look the same.
Yes.
They're all extremely built, very strong, and if you ever get the chance to watch those high level athletes when they're in the weight room, you'd never know that, the difference, there is no difference between like men and women in the weight room. I've been around plenty of extremely strong women, strong men, weaker men, stronger women, however you spin it. Sky's the limit in the weight room. And I think exposing it to you young, right, and training you like a college athlete, not training you like a pro, it's exposing you to that next level. I think we get caught up where it's like, oh, I got to train my kid like a pro.
Yeah.
I got to buy the new pro program, right? It's, or I'm looking for a discount when it comes to my kids' training, where it's like, no, really good training should be expensive because it's covering so much for you. It's never just been Vanessa shows up for a workout written up on a whiteboard. It's Vanessa has a workout programmed for her, sent to her in a custom app that she has on her phone. Her nutrition is also dialed in. Anything recovery is addressed, whether it's simple things like compression therapy or more advanced things like soft tissue, or coming off of a surgery. Now it's strength rehab for 8 weeks. There is not another place in town that does anything to any level of what we do here. I back that. Go look at all the 5-star reviews. You can talk to the thousands of kids that have come through our doors that are now adults, that some of them have turned into coaches. I mean, when Vanessa's done playing softball and gets out of school, she'll be the next person that I hire here to coach young athletes and make a life for herself. And I think that's always been a cool thing that she's done well with, is the life beyond sports, right? Softball will end one day, but she's going to be involved in sports the rest of her life, whether it's coaching, lessons, becoming the next thing here in town that should be providing these kids what they need, and there's still a big gap. So, I can keep talking, but I'd like to hear more from you. Like, let's talk about your time at the junior college, changes you saw from high school to JUCO, playing for College of San Mateo. Your coach at San Mateo, she's one of the most highly decorated JUCO coaches that got to develop you, helped with your recruiting. Let's dive into that. Just tell me a story about your San Mateo days.
Yeah, so I had been in contact with Coach Borg, love her. She started contacting her, and I went back and forth my junior, senior year of high school. And that's when I officially came to the conclusion like, I don't want to look into D3, D2, D1, NAIA. I was focused for me because the type of person I am, I'm not the strongest academically. So personally, if it wasn't for softball, I wouldn't be in college right now. But Coach Borg understood that and she took me in and was like, hey, like we're gonna work together both academically and physically because I want you obviously to be a student athlete. The student always comes first. And she helped me realize that very quick. But getting there, it was definitely the environment and the atmosphere was totally different than anything I'd ever been in. From high school we'd won our SECs, I think a couple of times, and we came up short my senior year. But playing for a program at like CSM, they're winning, they're conference champs every single year. They're making it to the state tournament every single year. They are NorCal champs every single year. They just won the entire thing this past year, just like we did at SOU. And it just shows the environment there is meant to strive and to compete and to succeed, of course. So I think that was the big key thing for me going there. And I loved it. My first day stepping onto the field, I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. I knew I picked a good place. And it was incredible. I learned from a girl, her name's Celeste. She was the second baseman before me, basically learning how to fill in that spot where she went to Florida Tech to play for her. Actually, past 3 years, she's getting her master's right now. She's doing great in life. And without her, without Coach Borg, without Toby, Allie, Dale, Matt, all of them, I wouldn't be where I am today in the softball realm. They are incredible people. They shaped me into the woman I am today, athletically and stuff, and I'm just incredible for them. And their Coach Borg, especially too, she's has so many connections to other schools. And like the big thing people don't realize is JUCO isn't just another high school. It's you're there to get your education, of course, and you're there to see, okay, like how am I going to develop in these 2 years to be either playing at the next level, whether that's NAIA, D3 through D1, whatever it is. If you want to keep going, this is what's going to morph you. And people don't realize that. That's where, like we talked about the portal. Mm-hmm. And when you compare a high school senior graduating compared to a portal person or a JUCO transfer even, coaches tend to lean now more towards the portal or the JUCO route because it's the experience that coaches want. And I feel like kids, especially seniors, they don't understand the D1 or nothing mentality. They don't understand. They're going to look for the experience. Unless you have the experience because you're at the top high school in whatever state you live in and you're breaking a bunch of records, whether you're a pitcher or you're hitting over like 600, 700, they're not going to even blink an eye, realistically. But again, at the end of the day, it's where you want to get your education from. If you want to go to a D3 or D2, but there's still a high level program, you're getting the education that you want. If you can get it paid for, if you can get scholarships, all that kind of stuff, people don't realize the different connections that the JUCO route brings them. And also, too, schools halfway free at the JUCO level, which is amazing. You can get your certifications, you can get your associates. I have my AA right now in social science because I didn't know exactly which route I wanted to go, whether it be the psychology route or the athletic training route, but I was able to determine after my 2 years at CSM, okay, I know where I want to go now. I know what degree I want. I know what master's program I want to go in. And yeah, half of it was free, which was the great part. And I will always be an advocate for the JUCO route because it helps so many more people it helps people more than I think they would ever realize just in the developmental process of becoming an adult and switching from, oh, I'm a high school senior to now I'm a college and freshman. Like I need to make that switch quickly.
I think now you have high school kids that go to these camps and showcases that are being held at a D1 school. Those camps and showcases, that is not D1 softball whatsoever. It's you being hit ground balls, you're going to get some BP, You're going to do your sprint probably on their lasers, right? And then you go home.
Yep.
And you get to take a picture with the head coach. Like that's not exposure. That's not the game or how you're going to practice whatsoever. Those coaches are being nice to you because you're also underage and they can't yell at you like they will when they get to college.
Yeah.
Because your mom and dad are not allowed at practice. They're only allowed to come watch you, and if they can make it to your games, right?
Exactly.
You know, it's JUCO route. There's some high school kids that aren't even ready for that.
Yeah.
Right. And then you think Division I, right? You're not ready for that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it comes down to everybody's bigger, faster, stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at men's baseball Division I. There's most starting lineups within this last year's College World Series. Not a person under 200 pounds. Some even bigger.
Yeah.
Like there's some outliers, right? But those athletes are great.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, you can say size doesn't matter. I don't have to be the tallest. Like no, you can still be 5'6", 5'7", but you better be great.
Yeah.
You better be able to hit 100-mile-an-hour pitch.
Exactly.
Right. Because it's you get cut. You know, it's some people don't look at it like you said, where JUCOs are about developing you for the next level.
Yep.
Those coaches at San Mateo, they coached you not like a JUCO athlete. They coached you like a D1, a D2, a D3 because they know what that takes. And it might be 1 year, you might need 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They will get you out of there. Whether it's San Mateo, you know, you've had a great run there. Multiple of your teammates have gone off with you to Southern Oregon as well.
Yep.
You know, I'm a big junior college person. That's the path I went out of high school. You know, I went to Delta here in Stockton, which is also one of the best JUCOs around. They do such a good job of developing you and getting you to the next level and giving you that criticism that you need. It's not, hey, you're the best, Vanessa, you're great. It's no, Vanessa, you need to work on this. I need you to get better at that.
Yep.
I need you to gain 5 pounds. I need you to get stronger. I need you to show up for yourself. And it's reality check, right? You might have been a starter in high school. You might be a bullpen person in college. You don't like that, the coach will just tell you to pack your shit and go home. Yeah, and mom and dad can't do anything for you at that point.
You're done at that point.
You know, mom and dad shouldn't be doing it for you in the high school level either. It's as much as they don't want to hear this right now, I'm sorry if I offend any of you, but mom and dads need to be parents first. You are not coaches. You are not strength coaches. You are not speed coaches. You are a parent.
Yep.
And when I played sports, it was my dad was my dad. If I needed help for the sports side of thing, it was go to your coach, ask your coach. You need fatherly advice, and that's when I'll be your dad. But I'm not your coach, you know. And I think that there's too much of that now, where we don't want you sore, we don't want you tired, but you're playing 8-game tournaments over the weekend, and
in like 3 or 2 days.
You're winning participation trophies. You're chasing little plastic rings, where in college, when you lose, you don't get a second place trophy.
You don't get it.
You get a really bad taste in your mouth.
Yep.
You know, and it's how do we get back to this? You know, you went to the World Series this year with Southern Oregon. You guys went in as a high seed. You were one of the best teams in the entire thing. You guys lost the first game, and then you went on to win every single game after that and take the title home. I don't think kids or parents realize that, where it's like in these tournaments, you paid to be there. So it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're going to get all your games, you're going to get your t-shirt and your trophy and your cute little picture, and everybody's a winner. Where I think the best part about college sports, especially with you, is you've learned how to win and you've learned how to lose. And that is what sports is all about. It's how do we lose and how do we come back from that?
Yeah.
Am I just going to keep being the loser mentality mindset, or is it going to be that growth mindset? I need to win, but I also need to lose. You're not going to win every game, right? You're going to lose plenty. You know, Michael Jordan lost plenty in his life. LeBron has lost a lot, but he's still a champion at the end of the day, right? LeBron still posting pictures and videos of him working out and getting roasted for it. But it's like, you know, he's the best at what he does. He can post whatever he wants.
And he's the oldest in the league.
Yeah, and he's still doing it. You know, you look at older athletes, they started investing in themselves at a very young age.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you, I think we're waiting too long now. We're going more of the route where they can just work out on their own. We're okay with that. They work out at home. Yeah, so do I. And I end up spending 3 hours out in my garage watching movies. My wife's listening to this. I do work out when I'm out there. But it's stuff like that. You know, we're afraid to put our kids in uncomfortable positions. You know, I think being a coach all these years, running a business, I've been in some very uncomfortable spots in business, in life, in sports, marriage, all of it. It's getting comfortable with that uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
How do I get out of it, right? You just had a rib cut out of your body that was causing you tremendous pain and discomfort, and you played base or softball for the last 2 years through that pain. You won a national title through that pain. You got to keep the rib as a souvenir so you can look back at that pain, right? And you go to Southern Oregon, you know, you get that next batch of relief that you're playing at the highest level you can play at right now.
Yeah.
You won at the highest level you could win at. And now I'm recovering from this surgery. I'm still training. I go back to school in a matter of weeks, and it's right back to the drawing board. It's just like, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. Their coach opened up their training camp this year. No one cares what we did last year. It's over and done with.
Yep.
It's what do we do now? Because it's that much harder to get back,
yep.
right? You lose girls that graduate. Luckily, you guys were a little younger, I think, so you get some key players back. But you get to look forward to everybody that's constantly developing. You're in the weight room with your team, and that's a missing thing at the high school level. Like you said, you might be in the weight room for a week or two, right?
And then it goes bye-bye.
Yeah, we call it conditioning a couple weeks before tryouts, and then we try out, and then we just rely on practice. We have all our games. We might make them run mindlessly at practice, and we'll call it conditioning.
Yeah.
And eventually that talent runs out, right? Long season, right? The teams that are investing in that, right? You know, I like to use LSU baseball as an example. They do a great job with their in-season stuff, right? Literally working out the days that they're playing games in the College World Series, and you have parents that think, oh, that's not good. It's going to make them sore. It's going to make them tired. I think it really comes down to that's just an excuse that the adult is making.
Oh yeah, I can even say, like, for me, when you had me working out before games for basketball or softball, I had the best game those days because I was already fresh. I was ready to go. I was mentally checked in beforehand. People don't realize how amazing that is.
It's not take a nap, right, and eat like crap. And it's like you're just going to be sluggish and play like crap. You know, our football players play at 7 o'clock on Friday nights. That means we're going to get together probably about 4.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a little tiny workout. You know, just get the blood flowing.
Mm-hmm.
We pull out all the basketballs because we are at high school, and we shoot around for 30 minutes. And we've scored 61 points that night. We emphasized nutrition, right? So it's what are we fueling all these kids before they even go out and play? Because you're going to get that in college. Mm-hmm. You're going to have your strength coaches, your athletic trainers, and then your nutrition team.
Yep.
And there's all that care that gets put into you. But kids don't have time for that.
No.
But they're always going to have time for private lessons or, I'm playing on another team because it didn't work out for me on this last team. Like you played for the same program your entire high school run. You never changed. right? And it was a great program for you because you got to play with the same group of girls. You developed for 4 years. You found the weight room young, and you've been in it ever since. And the best part of all of that is you always will have the weight room.
Oh yeah.
Because it's for any of us, we know it's more than just the physical thing. It's the mental, it's the emotional, it's all of that. It's always been an outlet for Vanessa, to just work on herself. And now that she's an older athlete, champion, right? Now she's in the gym and there's all these younger girls that are seeing her, that are the next up and coming high school kids that have all been trained by the same coaches that she's worked with here in town, coaches like Coach Debbie from All American, we have girls that want to go to Tracy High just because certain kids they know, right, went there. Or it's, Vanessa's got 2 flags hanging up on our training floor. We've always celebrated the success of athletes that have just stuck with it, training all throughout high school, graduating high school, autographing the wall out on the weight room. It's like a rite of passage. And you're going to college, I want your flag, your banner up on those walls, and you have 2 of them up there. You have your JUCO flag, you have your SOU flag up there. Kids ask all the time, what's that? Or, I have a athlete now whose dad played football at Southern Oregon, and now we coach football together at Tracy High. And he's a big JUCO guy because he played JUCO football first at College of Redwoods, and then it's going that route where now I have a kid that I coached here who's now playing on the baseball team at the College of Redwoods. It's seeing kids go other routes, and it's probably going to give them such a better experience. I've worked with athletes that went D1 right out of high school. Didn't have a very good experience with it. Some of it's rough because higher level means everybody's going to get good.
Oh yeah.
And the guy that's second, guy that's third, guy that's fourth on the depth chart, they're all good. You don't realize teams do that strategically. If a guy gets hurt or a girl gets hurt, girl number 2, guy number 2 has to be just as good.
Exactly.
They can't stink.
No.
It's not high school, right? Where you probably are going to have, sorry to say, but you're going to have bench warmers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was a bench warmer in high school, but I was a great teammate. I was never that guy who sulked or, complained because I didn't see my name on the starting lineup card. I knew my name wasn't on the starting lineup card, but it was like, okay, I'm going to be the loudest one in the dugout. I'm going to be the best teammate I can be. So then when the coach finally does need somebody, he's going to go after the loud jackass, who was making all the noise, cheering on his teammates. And you've always been that person. I think softball's so much different than baseball because you guys are constantly cheering and chanting. It's sisterhood versus brotherhood, right? And all the years I've been coaching and working with athletes, female athletes are the easiest to coach, and you're so much better to coach than the boys. Boys just don't listen. Boys are pains in the asses. I mean, I was one.
You're getting your own wrath.
Yes, and I just, especially I've worked with so many softball players, volleyball girls, just you want it more, right? It's a different atmosphere altogether, and hell, you're probably stronger, faster than a good portion of these boys and men, right? But it all comes down to you've been doing it for so long.
Oh yeah.
You've been so consistent about it. It's just like your routines within softball. Like training in the weight room now has become a routine for you. And it's at college, it's usually like a 5 a.m., 6 a.m. thing because it's got to be before class, right? You're probably going to watch film, do some sort of studying within the sport. You don't realize being a student athlete or being a professional athlete, it's a full-time job.
Oh yeah.
It's they get paid millions upon millions. It's still a long day at work for those guys. And now you're getting paid millions to play in college if you really are that good.
Yeah.
It's like 3% of the lower are actually going to go from high school to college. It gets even lower going from high school to pro.
Mhm.
It could get even worse depending on the sport.
Yeah.
I think it's great now that softball has the professional league. I think professional softball, in my opinion, can probably blow up bigger and faster than the WNBA could have ever. I think the
Yeah.
WNBA just took too long.
Oh, I agree.
I think it took too long to develop the right athletes. And who knows, that might be because, like you said, high school basketball, it's just not to the level it needs to be. I mean, you played multiple sports in high school: basketball, golf, softball. Not one of those sports put you in the weight room.
Oh,
You
no.
might have walked by it.
Yeah.
You might have went in there for 2 weeks at a time, and that was it. So it was like you always had to find somewhere else.
Yep,
And,
exactly.
Altamont Performance Lab has been your home, and it still is your home. You're on your summer break. You could have went on vacation somewhere. You could have went away, which you still did some stuff over the summer, but you also had a surgery, and you got bigger things to do. Vacations, partying, all of that stuff. You can do that whenever you need to.
Yeah.
In life, you're only going to get one opportunity to play a college sport that you're good at. The concerts, the time on the boat, the raves that you want to go to if you're into that. There's always going to be time for that.
Yeah.
Like you said, these moments that you have now, you have one more year to play.
One more year, and especially for me, it's playing pain-free.
Yeah,
So.
you're finally going to experience not having any pain, but you've done a good job of no pain, no gain, right? Rub some dirt on it, because it's college sports. You're going to lose your position.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your spot. You risk getting cut.
Yep.
It's not like in high school where it's, I'll be back when I want to be back because I'm so great at what I do, because that's what the people tell me.
Yeah.
I think it's just, we need to do a better job altogether, even within travel sports, right? Travel teams do not put any emphasis on strength and conditioning. They might tell you up front, yeah, we do that. We'll pull out a yellow ladder.
Mhm.
We'll get some med balls. We'll call it training.
Yeah.
Where you're just taking away from what I do. I don't teach kids how to throw a ball or kick a ball or swing a bat. I could easily do that and just take all the business from those coaches.
Yeah.
But it's like, we stay in our lane for a reason. It's with me being a strength coach, I only work with baseball players. And I think that's what you ran into early in the high school days, is you were training, but you were training around just baseball players and around a baseball mindset. And you needed more of that all around growth mindset, where any athlete, I'm going to get that attention. It's never jam-packed or crowded. And it's like, now when you work out with your team, you still have that individual vibe, because you're not lifting the same weights as the girl next to you or the girl in front of you or the girl behind you. There's girls on your team that are bigger, faster, stronger than you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But that doesn't matter, because you're just as strong as you need to be for what you need to do. And that huge home run that you hit in the World Series, that was a bomb, right?
Yeah.
And that was I was watching that live at home, and I mean, that's just cool to see, when you hit those big, core memories, right? You will always
never forget that.
You will always remember that home run and rounding those bases. It's winning that title, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't win it again, you are still a World Series champ.
Yep.
You got everything to show for it. You're healthy, which is the biggest thing. And you're still able to do what you love.
Yeah.
Right? And when it ends, you're still going to be around the sport, right? You're a big San Francisco Giants fan.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just around the sport, whether it's a baseball or a softball. Your household is very supportive of everything, from your stepdad and how he trains and everything. I coach your mom here at the gym. It's kind of full circle. It's, we want what Vanessa has. I wish more people in our town, maybe after they listen to this episode, maybe they'll start to wisen up and they'll start to invest into all those things that Vanessa did. And maybe one day when Vanessa's done with college and she's back home, maybe she can be the person to knock some sense into these parents, these softball folks. So, is there anything you want to say to these kids here at the high school level or kids that are just getting into softball? Like, what's some advice you can give to them? It's been great chatting with you. What's some things that these kids really need to focus on, the kids and the parents?
I'm gonna touch on the parents a little bit. For me, I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful for my family for what they have done for me. I wouldn't have been exposed to the weight room at such a young age if it wasn't for my stepdad and my mom. They, like you said, they train with you, and Steve does all of his things to train, and he constantly pushed me and was like, hey, you need to stop being like 90 pounds and like put some meat on you, get into the weight room. You're maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, like figure it out. So for me, I would just definitely have to say for parents, the support that you give and the support that you show your kid, if you can't do it, they won't do it. That's a big thing that I've always strived on. Like even my coaches, like Coach Borg, Coach Pistola at SOU, if they're giving us a workout, they're typically doing it with us. Like I'm a big person, and if you're going to speak of something, you need to be able to prove that something. That's a big thing that people don't realize, and parents don't see it like that either. They're going to be like, oh, you need to do the dishes. Well, you haven't done the dishes in X amount of days, and you keep piling the dishes on top and my daily chores and all that.
Parents think like, oh, this person played in high school or they were great at it, so that's who I want coaching my kids. It's like, I didn't play high school football, and I coach over 150 kids 5 days a week, and we are winning games, we are healthy, we've got kids that have college offers, and it's like, it comes down to knowing what athletes need.
Exactly.
Right? Understanding the sport that they play, right? You throw a ball, you swing a bat, you move left to right, you gotta be fast, you gotta be mobile, understand how to program for that. It's not whiteboard, everybody does the same thing, we're all doing the same movement, we're all doing the same weights. There's no consistency in that because you probably paid the cheapest rate possible for that level of training. It's like, we are the most expensive facility in town, and I pride myself on that. I used to be afraid of it. Used to think, oh, we have to do discounts just to get people in the door. And it's like, those are the people I don't want in the door because they're not committed to the long term.
Those are the shortcut people.
Yes, you can't have shortcuts with sports and development because your kids are going to be the ones to suffer, whether it's a shoulder problem, an elbow problem, knee injury. And let me tell you the amount of injuries that we have had just in the last couple of years alone. Like Vanessa's different. It was never really an injury. It was just something that developed on its own and had to be cut out. It's not like she blew out her knee rounding the bases, or she blew out her knee because she doesn't know how to jump or land properly because she's too weak. That's because we're making those decisions that we don't have time to work out. We don't want them tired. They're just too busy. Like, they're too busy because of you, mom and dad. You're the one who overloads their schedules with camps, showcases. We got to play here. We got to play there. Like, if you just played all spring and all summer, what do you need to play in the fall for? The fall should be spent on developing, right? In the fall, when Vanessa was younger, she was playing another sport. She was playing basketball. She was working out, right? It was never just softball, 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 softball. And if you are going to be that person, then you need to be working out year round, working on your strength, working on your speed. I just had a conversation with one of my high school seniors who's also a softball player. She's committed to a Division II college. We just got the breakdown from her coaches what they want her to focus on the rest of this year and into her senior year. And that is to get bigger, more mass, more strength, and she needs to get faster. And those are the things they want focused on for the next year before she gets to them as a freshman. Not work on your swing, work on your exit velocity, getting a PR on your throwdowns. She needs to do a velo program or an arm care program. Arm care is just good strength training.
Yeah.
It's not weighted balls, it's not fancy rubber bands. All the weighted balls and the rubber bands aren't doing you any good if you're still weak, underdeveloped, you weigh 150 pounds or less soaking wet, maybe even less than that, right? You're not hitting the ball further, you're not throwing it any further. So we need to prioritize the things that are going to help those things. You got to get stronger, you got to gain weight, you got to get your nutrition locked down.
Yep.
You have to improve your sleep, right?
Facts.
Your body doesn't recover if you're going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So let's put the video games down, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all the lessons, even though you're being told that you need hitting lessons and pitching lessons and fielding lessons and sports specific training. It's like sports specific training. If you know anything about strength and conditioning, and Buddy Morris, strength and conditioning coach for the Arizona Cardinals, sports specific training is practice.
Yeah.
It's everything you do in practice. It's like a hockey player. I can't have them come to the weight room in their skates with their stick, right? So there's no training we're going to lift weights. We're going to train qualities that can help give you more to use on the field. At the end of the day, you still have to play the sport.
Oh yeah.
But if you're weak, underdeveloped, you're always going to be outplayed by those kids that already have that. And yes, you're going to play against kids that have more gifts than you, right? But
this is the nature of the game.
it's just the nature of the game. You're gifted. You're pretty good at what you do, but you've always been giving yourself that competitive edge of getting stronger,
Yep.
right? You just rehabbed for the last 8 weeks, so you haven't been able to lift like you normally do. But we threw for the first time the other day after you having surgery, and you're not dead the day after. You already worked out today. You'll work out again this week. And now it's build, build, build. So I send you back to college strong and ready and healthy.
Yep.
And healthier than you were last year,
Mm-hmm.
which already puts you in a position to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we've talked a whole lot about high school, JUCO, college, just the mindset, of what you need to be able to be successful at these higher levels. And everything Vanessa has touched on today, if you're not doing these things, right, you need to start doing them. You're not going to play at the higher level or have any success that she is having if you keep doing it this way of not having time to work out. I only train during specific times of the year. This girl works out year round. Even with her arm in a sling, the day after surgery, she's doing stuff. It's a mindset. You either want to get better or you're just okay with everybody telling you you're great, and you're really not.
Yeah.
Would you like to close with anything or anything you want to add, Miss Lang?
Maybe just some advice for the younger girls out there. Softball is definitely developing quite a lot. From when I started playing at a young age to now finishing my senior year, it's changed drastically, and I'm so happy to see how much more inclusive it is. You see way more programs, more competitive programs, especially in the travel ball realm and even the high school realm. And I would just continue to say, keep fighting for what you want. At the end of the day, if you're not determined, if you're not happy, find something else that makes you happy. Keep fighting for what you want. And if you're on a team right now and you are a bench warmer, don't be content with that. Keep fighting for what you want to do. Keep fighting for that starting spot, either on the field or whether you're the DP in the lineup or you want to be the starting pitcher, not the second or third string. You have to keep pushing yourself and making yourself uncomfortable for what you want to succeed. I wouldn't be a national champion without my last year's senior class and all my coaches constantly pushing us and making all of us younger girls better. And now I get to step foot into the senior spotlight, and I now get to help lead my new team with my coaches and continue to fight to hold our national title. And if you don't have that mindset in anything you do or everything you do in life, you're not going to succeed in life. And also to remember, you're a student before you are an athlete. Education is just as important as your sports. And if you're not taking the time to continue to make yourself better in the classroom, you can say bye-bye to college sports at the end of the day. So
Amazing. That was great. You're hearing it firsthand, someone that lives and breathes it every single day. Like Vanessa said, softball's evolving. Which is great. It should be evolving. Every sport should be able to just do more for its athletes, and we don't just, rely on the footballs and the basketballs. It's all the other sports. There are plenty of people going to WNBA games and women's soccer. It's great to see, and even things like flag football, right? I think if flag football was around when you were in high school, that would have just been something that you probably would have.
I would have had so much fun.
Yeah, it's looking at now that girls have more opportunities, and most of the girls that we're seeing playing flag football are softball players. So it's like, yes, they don't have to play softball for another 3 to 4 months and waste that time. It's like kids that are playing multiple sports are already a step ahead.
Oh yeah.
They're more athletic than the kid who just plays one sport, because that's all they know. They only know the movement patterns of baseball and softball, which is, we all know it's boring.
Yeah,
it's different when you have to start cutting and dribbling. Or I just don't think kids want to learn another sport, because maybe they just don't have that athletic ability. But it's also like, you've never tried.
Yeah.
You've never gotten out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you can thrive the way you do, because you've been able to win and lose multiple sports and
so many.
multiple levels. Right?
I've had more losses that I can count than wins.
Yeah.
This my freshman and sophomore year at CSM, we were 4th place for the state, and then we were 5th place my sophomore year. And I just remember sitting there, especially even after my freshman year, because they were just the 2022, the defending state champs. And I was like, wow, like we didn't take our peat back. And that was my goal, to keep fighting. And then sophomore year, it just didn't happen, unfortunately. But like, again, I had that taste in my mouth, like it's not enough. And I was able to help come into SOU and give my part to the team that I could do. And then everybody else around was giving their part and just constantly fighting for the same exact goals. And it was amazing. I've never been a part of something that incredible before. And like you said, the constant drive to just continue to be better and better and make yourself uncomfortable to get even better. People don't get that. It's the lazy piece. It's people getting stuff handed to them. Coaches saying, oh, it's okay, and patting you on the back, when like, no, that's not okay. You need to figure it out and pull your head out of your backside and figure out why are you doing something that way rather than the better way.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you guys lost the first game of the World Series tournament. You now have to win every single game from there on out.
Yeah.
And that's not your average. There were some days where you guys had to play one game right after the next.
Yeah, especially at the end. We played, I think, our first day that we lost, we played around 9 innings that game. And then, or it was 12, I can't remember. I mixed up the 2 games. But then we continued to play, like you said. And we played that same team that we lost to at the beginning. And it was like, wow, here we go. Like, new ball game, new day. Any given day, it's somebody's day. So we knew it's going to be a dogfight, and we just fought. And I think we went into extras again, and it was just incredible to see us not be put on the back end of the extra innings and losing, because a little bit into like earlier in the year, we had a 15-inning game against Eastern Oregon University, and we had lost after that. And it's like, wow, how did we just lose a 15-inning game, a game that mattered? It was a conference game for us. And then it just flipped. It was like the universe saying like, oh, you're going to come against that hurdle again. And that came in the World Series. And it was just incredible to see every single person on that team just dig in and put everything that they had just to keep going past that hurdle to push us. Even when we got rained out against Georgia Gwinnett and we had to come back the next day and play one single inning to get 3 outs, and then we had to play again, and then we played again, and then it just kept going. But it was just so good seeing all of us have the mentality of just one game at a time. Don't think about the future, just keep your feet where you are and keep fighting for the next thing. So it was awesome to be in that.
It's a college sports, it's a growth mindset,
Yes,
right? It's
100%.
You start to realize it's so much more than the sport and wins. Like, they're teaching you how to be an adult.
Yeah.
And how to be a better human and how to face adversity. You know, you could sit in a room and ask a bunch of high school athletes. You know, I did this with our football players last week. It was, what is your why, right? Why do you do this? Who do you do it for? You know, and then we can find out the what side of things. It's, you know, what do we need to do today to be better tomorrow? Right? And it's the team thing. It's never been about you.
Exactly.
Even when you were hurt, you were still out there doing your thing. You won a gold glove. You played hurt the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Most kids, I'm hurt. We got kids that miss practice because of shin splints, right? You pull that crap in college. It's, hey, just pack your bags, go home. Like, I've got 6 other kids that will fill the gap when you're gone. They don't realize, like, you're replaceable in college. There's so much more talent in the pool now. Like, you are a fish in a pool of sharks.
Yep.
And in college, it's your teammate will chop your head off to take your starting position. You know, they will sabotage your night before so they can get playing time. It's ruthless. Right, just like life in general, you know. But it's like, if you look at kids sports, right? You have kids that are changing teams every 3 months because parents are feuding with one another at games. They're yelling at refs. They're yelling at coaches because their kid doesn't get enough playing time. And it's like, those are the parents who truly believe that their child is going to go somewhere in life. And it's like, no, that's the kid who probably is going to quit by the time they ever hit puberty.
Yeah, and you can't condone that. It's like the negativity that you bring around the sport, it causes the burnout, like you said. There's no coming back.
And travel sports are just ruining sports in general these days. It's become a disgusting business.
Yeah.
You know, to where those parents that are upset with the team that they were just on, all it takes is for a couple of those parents to get together and start the next best team, throw the word development into the mix, and then you got the next batch of Division I All-Stars.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, you just have the next batch of kids who are probably just going to get burnt out, quit, because now they're being coached by God knows who.
Yep, somebody.
You know, and it's just a money grab. You know, at that point, you know, because then it's, what showcases do we need to go to? What camps do we need to go to? I don't get any summer because every weekend is spent at a tournament. But hey, we came in 10th place this one, 2nd place that one. They're getting trophies, so they're not really being taught how to win or lose. So when they get to high school, it's a rude awakening when they get cut for the first time from a team, because you're not paying to be there. You are being picked. The best get picked. That's how it works in real life. You know, just like all the promotions I went for earlier in my year, my career, and didn't get picked for because the other guy got it. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they were the best, but it was like, hey, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. They told me to do this, and worked on it, didn't get anywhere. You know, you kind of learn that some advice is just bullshit in life. But I think you've done a great job of seeing through that, right? I've never been one to feed you any of that. It's, here's what we're going to do. It's going to take time, you know, but if you're consistent with it and you want this, you really realize that I do very little. You're the one who has to show up and do all the workouts and do everything.
You give the foundation.
You have to go to practice. You have to play in these games. You have to face these girls that throw weird pitches, and I can't hit home runs like you do. I can play catch. That's to the extent, but like seeing you athletes thrive and do these things, like I think winning the title or not, you're still a champion, right? It doesn't define you. If you lost in the World Series,
Life still keeps
life's
going.
still there. Hey, I made it to the World Series. It doesn't take away from you guys winning your league, or what do we call it in college, your division.
Our conference.
Right,
Yeah,
conference.
We didn't even win that.
Yeah, it's there's so much. It's like you really you stuck to it. And I think it's going to be great watching you come back this senior year, seeing what you can do. You can definitely follow Vanessa's journey. You can find her. You don't have to stalk her on social media, but you can check out her college. Southern Oregon University does a great job with their social media. If you're one of those kids looking for a college to go to, maybe Southern Oregon, maybe you've never heard of it. It's a beautiful school. Oregon is just beautiful in general. Vanessa's had the opportunity to go to College of San Mateo here in California, which is also a beautiful campus. Their field probably has one of the coolest backdrops and just views of the bay, right? And now she's up in Southern Oregon. It's Oregon. It rains, so everything's green and pretty. It's not like the burnt brown hills that surround us out here. So it's, like I said, it's knowing that there's way more opportunities than the top 5 schools that you hear about on a daily basis. You softball girls, there's more than just the Texas Longhorns. There's more than just Texas softball.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
Yeah, there's more than that, girls. You got to find the schools that are going to give you an opportunity, that are going to maybe help your parents out with tuition, because college is extremely expensive and there's not a lot of money in softball. You're not looking at full rides. This is not football. This is not basketball. You got to be grateful for what you get. It could be academic money. It could be athletic money. It could be a food stipend.
Yeah.
Right? Some schools just don't have it, right? But they might have a great program that's going to let you play, be a starter, give you instant impact. So definitely look into it. You can find Southern Oregon University all on socials. They have a page directly for their softball, so you can follow everything that the girls are doing this off season, and hopefully they can get back to defending that big title. They're pretty good at getting back to this tournament. Their track record is pretty great, and it's going to be awesome seeing Vanessa come back pain-free. So definitely look out for this episode. It's been great having V here talk with us. I've been talking with Vanessa for a very long time now, so it's cool to kind of see where she's come from, a pain in the butt high school kid to pain in the butt college adult. But that's the love I have for her and her family. So definitely be on the lookout for this episode on the Students of Strength podcast. This episode is sponsored by our wonderful gym, Altamont Performance Lab. All these episodes should be up within the next month or so. You'll be able to find them everywhere you listen, watch podcasts, YouTube, whatever. So thank you for listening. Hope you took something from this. And all you softball people out there, young girls, high school girls, college girls, crazy softball moms and dads, just know that we could be doing so much better for these kids, and they definitely need way more than what we are doing for them. We got to flip the script on these youth sports. It is more than just weekend tournaments and private lessons. So to be a student of strength, you got to figure out that strength part, and that's what we're here for. So thanks again to Vanessa, and we are signing off.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Vinny.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everybody.